They still try to shame you. They still want to make it as if it's not their own doing, that some of these ladies actually made the choice to be single mothers. And now she's this alpha mom that's raised a beta boy. She has essentially raised a generation of men that she would never herself date. So she would never be with a man like this, yet she created a man like this. Then wants to complain about men like this.
Masculine women tend to raise punks.
You want me to take your iPad away?
No!
Okay, well, it's time for bed.
No! Not going to bed! No!
Come on.
See, we've all been noticing that there's an epidemic of bitch-ass niggas out here. A lot of punky puss boys out here. And the reason is because alpha moms raise beta boys. See, they didn't have a man to model after. Sure, he had a strong mother, a mother that was doing the best she could. She did everything that needed to be done in the household, but she couldn't do what a man would do in the household, a stable man. Maybe that, for whatever reason, he wasn't there. He wasn't there to show this young man the way. So now we have a lot of older men who still have this hurt young boy inside them because they just didn't have that North Star to follow.
It was an explosive ending to a case that started over a year ago. Lance Dyer was only 16 when he was involved in a brief police chase in a stolen car. Dyer bailed from the vehicle and pointed a gun at a Dayton officer while trying to get away. That cop fired and shot Dyer in the hand. Judge Dennis Adkins says Dyer has shown no remorse or responsibility for his actions and as a result sentenced him to 11 years behind bars. Dyer's mother says they plan to appeal.
I still don't believe that he pointed a gun at a police officer because my son would be dead. You know, police officers don't shoot warning shots. They are trained to shoot to kill. So if you're trained to shoot to kill, then if my son pointed a 9mm at you twice, why isn't my son dead?
But the only reason why the hood got that way is because, unfortunately, sisters, a lot of y'all started not my babying the community. Couldn't nobody tell your baby shit. Couldn't nobody put hands on your baby. Can't nobody discipline your baby. And the only problem is you say that shit within earshot of the baby. And now he know that my mama is the only authority figure that I respect. And then when real trouble come, you the first one to bail him out. Yeah. He call you from jail, you put up all your capital to bond out, and you know that guilty. But not my baby.
It's not all their fault. I don't say it's completely anyone's fault. But he now has to take up the responsibility of finding his manhood along the way, when it should have just been exemplified to him growing up. I know this because I saw this growing up. I saw a man lead a household with quiet strength, lead a household, stay married to the same woman 50 plus years. I watched this entire thing happen my entire life. So I saw the blueprint, but it wasn't until I got a little older and I started meeting other young men who didn't have that same blueprint. And although we'd arrived at these same points at the same time, there was a level of hurt that was inside of him that I didn't identify with.
When the initiators are gone, then there's no one to welcome the young men into the male world. And all young men are angry about that. When you're looking at a gang, you're looking at young males who have no older men to welcome them into the male world. They're trying desperately to do it themselves. They're trying to teach each other what courage is, how much pain you should endure, what a cause is. They're trying to do it. It doesn't work because young males cannot initiate each other.
And when the father is gone, as happens so often in America today, often it's just a single mother who is left to do it all, the initiation.
That's right, and women try very hard with that. And I remember I said at that thing in Evanston, I said, you know, a woman can bring a boy, can bring the boy from the fetus to be a boy, but she cannot move him from a boy to being a man. Only other men can do that. And some of the women got angry, and another woman said, I think he's right, because when my boy was in high school, I knew that he needed something harder than I could give him.
My mom, she didn't care. She was just like, oh, so you want to do this? You want
Right.
Why,
Oh, you think you a man, huh?
why? So it then got to the point where I go to school, you say something I don't like,
Damn, bud.
because that's what I was taught as a kid.
Right.
Know? If I said something that my mom didn't like, I was getting my ass whooped.
Right.
If I did something that my mom didn't like, I was getting my ass whooped.
Right.
You know what I mean? So every time it was something negative, I was getting my ass whooped.
Right.
So I carried that on in my life when I was with my peers.
Right.
It's just to say that women try very hard with this, and it's hopeless. They cannot really guide a boy all the way to being a man. That's a job for the men to do. And if a woman is in that situation, then she should recognize that and try to find some older man that she trusts and ask him to hold the boy in his heart. It isn't necessary that he take the boy to the zoo every other day. But many young men do not know a single older man who encourages them or holds them in their heart.
The only way I could identify it with was seeing what I have and realizing that's a lack in this young man's life. And from that point forward, it became a point to make sure that men, young and old, realize that there are men out here that care about how they turn out. But you should know that I care, because you're the leaders going forward, and we need you in sound mind, sound body, sound spirit. And when you're unsound in so many other ways that should have been just part of our foundation, now we're in our adulthood chasing something, and we're trying to find it, and we can't find it because it was in the past. My mother says to this day, a woman can't show a boy how to be a man. And that's not an insult. It's not out of the realm of possibility to think that an apple can't show an orange how to be an orange. It's never been an orange. And that's what we're comparing when we talk about the skill sets and the things that men and women do in relationships. That's why we need each other. That's why we come together like gears in a cog. We work together. We need each other. But somewhere along the line, we've been told that we don't need each other, and that we should stand on either sides of the aisle, pointing fingers at each other and never get anything resolved. But the children are the ones that are falling by the wayside. The children are the ones that are the victims of these situations that we place ourselves in. So maybe if we thought about the children a little bit more, we'd make more sound decisions. But we're making them with our emotions, ladies. Gentlemen, we're making the decisions with our dick because we don't have any discipline, plain and simple. You can boil it down to whatever you want to try to fluff it up and all this. What it really boils down to is you wanted to have sex, you had sex, and now you regret it. You lost your discipline. And I'm not saying it like I haven't done it myself. We've all been there. We've all fallen short. But I think it's more important to understand where your weaknesses lie, that maybe you can avoid those situations a lot more. But we're losing our young men. And this was something I realized long ago. I realized this when I was in the classrooms back in the early 2000s. There was something going wrong in our classrooms. But if you speak on it in the way that I'm speaking upon it, you would have gotten shouted out of the room 10 years ago. They still try to shame you. They still want to make it as if it's not their own doing, that some of these ladies actually made the choice to be single mothers. And now she's this alpha mom that's raised a beta boy. She has essentially raised a generation of men that she would never herself date. So she would never be with a man like this, yet she created a man like this. Then wants to complain about men like this. As they would say, make it make sense. But I want to know what you think. What do you think about alpha moms raising beta boys? Is this an epidemic? Can we turn this around? Are you a beta boy that was raised by an alpha mom? I want to hear your story in the comments below.
Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.